Welcome to Geek Aid, the show where three of the world's most top, smartest experts educate you on the happenings of the world and answer your gaming and nerd culture questions. My name is Saucy Mailman, and I am the head professor of divination at your local mage college.
This week, Rod Johnson wrote for me, my name's Geek, and I am Tim Hortons donut inventor.
You have to innovate in the field, because if you're not, your competition is going to take over for you. And my name is Rod, and I am a telepod scientist. I specialize in developing telepods. So that's what I do.
I hear that's pretty important these days.
It is, especially when you want to become a giant man fly. And
how much do they cost?
They're in development. The price is yet to be determined.
Okay.
Yes, that
all
makes
about
sense. That sounds affordable.
Oh, it will be. It will be. I mean,
it will be.
If people want to get around in very quick fashion, it's going to need to be. It's just becoming man flies is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
Man flies, liked man flies. Love them.
So how are you guys doing on this day?
I am doing all right. I'm unfortunately going back to Ohio tomorrow. So yeah, that's what I said too. But besides that, I get a week off of work, which makes me happy. So
we were getting ready to record our podcast today, and the program that we will not name that we usually use to capture our audio and video had an update and fucked everything up. So we had to redo all our overlays. So that was fun.
It rhymes with pipe and lipe.
Yep. And we'll just leave. There's a lot of programs that could be. So we'll just leave that up to you guys.
I wonder why they always update stuff to make it more slick and dynamic and like better, but then they make it shittier and not as friendly to use and more stupid.
I have some friends that do a Hearthstone podcast called Hero Power, and they put it out on Twitch and they do all that stuff live, and they tweeted out the other night, yeah, we're gonna be a little bit late because Skype updated and fucked our shit up. And it's like, Skype is just like, it's the way they push updates and the way they just manage their software. It just seems like it's not coming from like one of the world's biggest software companies in Microsoft. It seems like it's some
bad.
It's just terrible.
I think
seems bad.
The one thing though is people. Okay, so most of the time, change is good, right? Like it sucks when they do these updates, but it's always for the better. There's a reason, but the whole setup is totally negated now, so it's all screwed up. Like it's just they reformatted everything. We can't do it. Like we were looking. I was a blank screen. Like why do I want to see myself in Skype?
Yeah.
I don't. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I mean,
Rod's
he doesn't.
face was the size of Cuba.
Yeah.
Geeks doesn't even have mirrors in his own home because he doesn't want to see himself. So why would he want to look at himself in Skype?
No,
he is a vampire. That's really what this comes down to, is that mirrors don't affect
That's
him.
actually a pretty big topic of dissension between him and his other half. Is she's like, why can't we get mirrors? He's like, no, this is the one thing I put my foot down. No mirror.
And garlic. No garlic in the house. I want
no
none.
garlic, no mirrors, no crosses, no wood, anything. We don't want to have a risky situation.
That's why he lives in Canada, because there's no sun there.
Or garlic.
I'm actually really, really nervous, guys. There's a new movie franchise that just came out, and it's getting really popular. It's called Twilight. And I'm really nervous about it. It's just popping off in Canada. It's really scary, guys. Like,
again, we made the reference that you need to go further back for this. So I thought you were going to go with Interview with a Vampire.
I think that's just so ridiculous. I think Twilight's good enough where it's like, that's 5 years ago, so it's enough. But Interview with a Vampire, what's that, 96, 97?
No, Interview with a Vampire is way longer than that. It's like 91 or something like that.
No.
Baby
the
Kiss.
Movie? Are we talking the movie?
Yes.
Google it right now. No, the movie.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Interview.
I'm saying 96, 97. Saucy?
94.
94. It's when it came out. 94 is the answer.
Oh, Saucy cheated.
No, I was giving the answer. I wasn't giving a
Okay,
guess.
I
I said
thought you-
1847 was my guess. I was
Okay, so
pretty close.
it was in between, so it was like, yeah. But
So that means
yeah,
it came out in Canada in 2015.
I hate you guys so much. This week for me was good, guys. I've been streaming some Hearthstone. I'm super excited for the meta to change. I don't know, nothing else. I got partnership. Yes, I'm really excited. I got partnership on Twitch.
And now he's got
a crowd cheering now.
Yay! And he's gonna kick us off the podcast because he's a big league now, and we're like low time noobs compared to him. So
this is the first time, sorry, that like a tweet of mine has gone like almost viral. You know what I mean? Like getting over 300 likes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what happens. It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. You're like a cool kid now. Like you got invited to sit at the kids' lunch table, and now like me and Saucy are sitting at the geeky table
going for a week. It's gonna be for a week, dude. It's gonna be for a week. This tweet will be amazing, and I'll be like, woo, I got new followers. And then it's like,
it's really weird. Like after you got partnered and announced that, like I was on the Twitter, like the Twitter for Twitch to support, and they're like, we're looking into ways to like remove partnerships from streamers. Just trying to see if there's a good way we can do this. I don't know if it's related. Just something I noticed.
I'm hoping they do. It would be amazing to be like, oh, sorry guys, I'm just kidding.
I was a partner for 7 minutes. I got zero paychecks. I got anything like that.
Next week's news section will have that, like, streamers, the shortest partnered Twitch streamer ever.
Glitch on Twitch. Everyone got partner. Everyone got partner.
They'll be like, this shit got out of hand the minute Geek say got partner. We have to fix this right now, because if not, Rod will be partner soon, and we can't deal with that.
Oh God, yeah, we can have that.
How was your week, Saucer?
It was really good. Nothing crazy, really. Just a good old regular week. Did some streaming, did some stuff. It was real good.
Nice.
Worked on his beard.
Yeah,
I made it.
Trim that beard.
I got some new emotes coming out. That's exciting.
Oh my God, that emote. We got a special preview, everyone, and it
looks awesome. It looks amazing. Fantastic.
It is. Yeah. It is the most like. What it reminds me of is the episode of South Park where they have the Tweak and Craig are in love, and everyone makes the anime like pictures of them. That's what it reminds me of.
Who did it?
Yeah.
Who did it? Sorry.
His name is Ascot Hero. He's one of the Kyoto guys. We've been chatting a bunch, and
okay.
I was like, hey, you gotta artwork me, because he does real good emotes.
And maybe I know who to go to get my Rod Otter.
Dude, he's real good at it. He draws like a lot of good, like cute animal stuff too. Like, so I went to him because I was originally gonna like, hey, I want a bunch of emotes of my bird, and then I'm like, oh, I want one of me, and then I am gonna have one of Jace in my beard. So that's gonna be like my new emotes.
Are you posting them on Discord and stuff? Are you gonna throw them on your Discord and shit?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw them on there, and I'm gonna throw them on your Discord. I'm gonna replace yours with mine. It'll be
that's good. That's fine.
I mean, again, we previewed the thing that no one wants to look at Geeks, so let's replace his pictures with yours, and everyone will be happier that way.
Yeah.
So.
I have an idea for emotes. I'm gonna talk off stream though. I'm gonna wait till off stream. Anyways.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I love it.
So should we jump in the news here? Should we jump?
Yeah, we have a lot of news this week. Let's go into it.
Well, you know what? First though, before we do this, why don't we do some intros here? I don't even think we've done intros with like what the show is.
What the show is? I did.
Did you?
I entered the show. Yeah.
Oh wow, we're so professional. Okay, but on to news, guys.
It's because Geeks has been day drinking yet again, and when you day drink, you sometimes
it's a celebration. It's a celebration.
Guys, welcome to the morning. Let's start over. Hey guys, I'm Drunky Mailman. All right, well, we got a lot of news this week. What do you guys want to talk about first?
Let's talk about this New York story about kicking Spectrum the fuck out of New York, because I fucking love this story.
So this is, I think, probably bigger news here in the America where we live. So I'm sure people know about net neutrality. It's some garbage bullshit. But so Spectrum is an internet service provider. They're pretty big, and they are in New York. And so New York has recently given them the official act saying the quote is they have 60 days to come up with a plan because they are no longer allowed to do business in New York. And this is due to multiple instances of misconduct, in quotes, including they were sued for throttling speeds of people playing League of Legends. And they're also been throttling people watching Netflix. They're just, if you play League of Legends, they just cut your speed because you're playing League of Legends. And same with like Netflix. So this is a pretty big deal because they're like basically Spectrum's like, well, because of this net neutrality stuff, we can do whatever the fuck we want. And New York's like, well, because we're New York, we can just not let you do business here. So I think it's pretty cool to see a state take like a stand on that and just give someone the boot.
It is a perfect example. You have New York City, the biggest city in all of America, and you're going, well, I mean, the rest of New York, whatever, but New York City specifically is what, like 8 million people live in New York
That's a
City.
lot.
And you go, hey, because you're a bunch of assholes, you can't do business here anymore, which is huge. These companies do whatever the fuck they want, and especially with net neutrality, like Saucy was talking about. The fact that they're doing this and fighting back against this bullshit is amazing, and I fucking love it. This needs to happen more. These companies need to be fucking punished for being dickbags, and I think this is just perfect. I don't always like when the government messes with businesses, but like when businesses are being fucking gigantic assholes like this, I love this. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What scares me? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, what scares me though is so for right now they're setting this, kind of showing off, like they're flexing, right? Like New York's flexing and saying we're not dealing with this. I love this. The what scares me though is, you know how politics are. So right now it's the New York State Public Service Commission.
Yeah.
I'm worried about when someone gets bought. You know how politics are, money flies around, people get bought. What happens when in 5 years the commission is totally different people and they've been playing with all these people and getting money from them, and now that they're in spots they'll be like, it's okay now. That's what I get scared of, is politics is such a money game that eventually they might get brought back. But I like right now that they are setting this precedent. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Precedent. They're setting this precedent. They're setting it, and that's amazing. It's us in Canada, we're just getting dial up, so we're like, we're getting it, man. It's happening, and but we don't have net neutrality. But you guys passing it makes it happen faster here. Like if you guys don't think it's going to happen in Canada now, you guys are wrong. It's going to.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, the thing is, this kind of stuff isn't net neutrality. What people were worried about was the whole like, oh, we're going to charge for like packages, basically, right? People were really concerned about like, oh, if you want to use Netflix, you have to pay this package, and you have to want to use this. So that was the big thing with net neutrality that got brought up. But this is the kind of shit that really affects like more people than you realize. It's stuff that doesn't seem obvious at first, but when you look at it and talk about it, this is like everyone has fucking Netflix, right? So you have this thing where they're throttling people for using a service used by most people, and it just needs to be addressed, and thank God this is happening. So
yeah, exactly. But I agree with what Geek said, because we saw that happening a lot when the whole voting into all the net neutrality bullshit was happening. Is like they were like, oh, we're just gonna pass this because suddenly I just got another 300 million from Time Warner Cable. So I could see that happening.
There are a lot of problems in this country that go, and this is supposed to be a comedy show, so I'm not going to go into it too much, where because of no term limits with like senators and like, congressmen and a lot of things, it's a scary concept, because these people, if they get bought and paid for, are basically in office for life at that point. So that's what really can be a terrifying thought. And so you go back to that and you go, well, if these people get bought and paid for, we're in trouble. And that's why I'm often worried about that kind of stuff in this country. So
it's human nature to get $300 million from someone. Like, yeah, I'll ruin Saucy Mailman and Ron Johnson's life. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. 300 million. Yeah. Like, yeah.
If
okay,
you didn't ruin my life for 300 million, I would be very, very sad.
So what makes me feel like what's going on is League of Legends. Like, everyone's playing Fortnite. Why aren't they throttling Fortnite and just League of Legends? That seems like a weird game to choose.
Because this is a story over years. This is like talks about a 2017 lawsuit
because they got sued back in 17.
So this shit isn't like instantaneous, right? So
how crazy is that though, that they can just pick like a specific game or a specific client, just be like, you know what, I don't, maybe it's like, okay, so president of Spectrum Communications, Ronald J. Spectrum, he's like, you know what, my son is playing way too much Fortnite. I'm throttling Fortnite for everyone. Just fuck all of you people playing Fortnite. Don't care. My son's a butthole. He got a C in Spanish, and I am Ronald J. Spectrum. You're all throttled.
It would be better if he's like, my kid always cries because he loses, so we're throttling everyone but his. Everyone else. So he gets really good ping, and everyone else gets shitty ping. So he has a little bit of an advantage.
Got to give him that bit of an edge when I can.
I just can't hear his whining anymore.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. Do you guys want to talk about collegiate esports?
Yes. So let's go talk about this shiznit.
When do you guys read this one? Because I'm still reading it.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, collegiate esport is uncharted territory, says Kotaku article. So smaller schools are taking claim. What this article is pretty much about is they're talking about how smaller schools now are trying to get into the business of having an esports team, and they're even putting a lot of money behind, arenas. There's a small school in upstate New York that's putting $250,000 towards a new kind of like esports arena for their kids, or for their
that's dope.
For their players. What's cool about this, guys, is bigger schools now have to play these smaller schools, and they all have kind of a good advantage between each other, because most of the time bigger schools now have a better chance of getting those top players. If
they have a bigger pool.
Yeah, they have a bigger pool, right? Because everyone wants to go to this. But if they specialize in esports, maybe they'll get more people into their school, right? And I think this is brilliant. I think it's uncharted territory right now. It's really neat.
So I don't know if either one of you guys ever watched the Hearthstone collegiate thing.
Oh, I love it.
There are, I mean, some of the bigger schools won. I think like I talked about it on one of my podcasts, but like Hearthstone, like Penn State won like one of the championships. Maybe you even talked about it on our first episode here. But you watch that from week to week, and there are schools I've never fucking heard of on there. So it's not a surprise that this is happening, because like it takes it's like basically almost free press. You give like a $500 scholarship away to some kid, and you like just have a team, and you go, okay, well, I get free press for my school. My school gets like shown off on the interwebs, and all I had to do was give out a $500 scholarship.
No, I love that. Like, have either of you guys ever seen the show Video Game High School?
No, yes, I've heard of it, but it's a YouTube thing, right?
It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Freddie Wong did it. Yeah. And I loved that show because I thought it was awesome. But it's kind of funny because it was created as this like fantasy world that could happen. And it's like, I think we kind of see moving kind of towards that. I mean, if we have schools that have, so let's say there's all the colleges that have like big football teams and stuff. But if they're like, hey, this specific school in Delaware has like the best Fortnite team or whatever, when Fortnite takes over the world, and people are just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm moving to Delaware because I play Fortnite. I'm like, I think that's so cool. Like, this is super rad to me.
I want to know which school focuses in on Roblox, because that's where I'm going to go to college.
It's Penn State.
Oh, no, that's the bad answer. You go to Penn State when you're a small child, bad things happen to you.
Jesus.
especially for sports.
Oh, that's so good.
Imagine
Small
though before, but like telling your buddies, you're like, I can't go out tonight. I've got Hearthstone practice before class in the morning.
Yeah. I love
Oh,
that. But
yeah.
then you can justify it better because there's so many times I don't want to go out with people because I'd rather just sit at home and play it. Be like, sorry, it's mandatory. Like I've got Hearthstone class in the morning. I've got to play, 50 ranked wins with Rogue tonight.
oh.
I love it.
I fail this semester if I don't get my golden rogue.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love
Uh,
that. I think this is sweet though. I love, just going back to, the last couple weeks we've talked kind of about esports, how they're getting bigger and seeing them in bars and stuff. And I think this is just, it's more good things for all of us nerds out there. Even if you're not into esports, even if you're not a big gamer, just like nerd culture becoming more, widely accepted and more like coming into our schools is pretty freaking cool.
I mean,
So here's a good number. Sorry to interrupt, but ESPN's list of collegiate esports programs count 85 institutions in the U.S. and Canada. That's huge. That's
dope.
huge.
in Canada, they're playing Chips Challenge is the main esport they have. So Chips Challenge is a really, really like the game is hot fire right now in Canada. You gotta go through the levels.
It must have just come out because I have no clue what Chips Challenge is.
That shit is like was on Windows like 3.1 back in the day, where you were running around like solving puzzles and collecting like little microchips. And
Really?
yeah, so
We played that shit in like computers class and school.
Chips Challenge, motherfucker.
So good.
You'll
love
get
it.
you'll get to it eventually, geeks. And when you pick it up, it's just like it's all about speed runs in Canada because you guys are just picking that shit up. Speed runs are key.
Speed running is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like that's something I can never like. I love watching speedrunners. I could never do anything like that. I don't even play through most games one time. I can't imagine playing through the same game like more than one time. That's crazy.
Have you ever?
I was gonna say my ADD is so bad that like I play a game.
Oh, Rod, you could never do that. You could
I know.
never do that.
Yeah, you can't even finish a game of Hearthstone if it's going long. Like if it's a control match, you're like, ah!
I have told a story where I once sat on the toilet playing a Quest Priest mirror matchup where it literally ran out of turns. So that's about as long as I could go to a game. That's just me.
Have you guys ever seen speedrun fails where they're like they have a world record, and then something goes wrong at the last possible moment and it screws them? Like I don't think I could take that. I don't think I can take that.
Entire planet.
Yeah, how do you play that game again? But
Dude,
it's really interesting. I was watching the speedrun charity event they always have on Twitch.
Yeah, speedrun
Games Done Quick. Games Done Quick.
Games Done Quick. Yep.
It's so interesting. There was a guy that was playing Batman, and him going through the level, like the game, and talking about it. He was so good at it. He's like, okay, this guy sometimes pops here, so we're gonna wait. Okay, we didn't get that. Okay, we're gonna hope that this pops here. Okay, it didn't this. You know what I mean? Like he knew the game.
Is this like the Nintendo game?
It's the Super Nintendo game.
Okay, wow.
Batman Returns.
That's insane.
It's always crazy when you watch speedrunners. It's like you think it. So we were watching one that's like Ninja Gaiden, and it was like you can speed run it in like 20 minutes or something crazy like that. And I'm like, I remember taking hours and hours and hours trying to get through that shit. It's insane to me.
What game do you guys think of when you guys think back in the day that was super hard? Like what game comes to your mind when you think just super hard?
Brought one up. Ninja Gaiden. That game is so fucking hard, man. That game destroys lives. Like
I never played that. I never played that game back in the day.
I mean, it is good. You'd tilt off the fucking planet. It's
really? It was that hard?
Unforgivable.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite YouTubers for a long time was Angry Game Nerd, and he just he shits on shitty Nintendo games was his whole concept when he started. But he did an episode about Ninja Gaiden, and he's like, okay, this isn't the usual thing, but like this game is really good, but is the hardest game like of all time, or one of the hardest games of all time.
It's
And
crazy.
the episode was really interesting because he did it as like a challenging thing, and he could still say fuck 800 times because the game drives you nuts. But it is literally one of the hardest games of all time.
I always think of
of
Battletoads.
Contra.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Contra. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. That's a good one. Contra's definitely a good one.
Contra
think-
with the codes, the cheat codes, the up, down, down, blah, blah, blah.
Up, down, left, right.
Or Echo the
BA
Dolphin.
start.
Yeah.
Grammy code. Yeah, I think of definitely Battletoads.
Oh,
And-
Battletoads, yeah.
Yeah, I think of Battletoads, and I also think of, I don't know why, because I never really even played it often, but Metal Slug. I don't know why that pops in my head.
I think we're probably gonna all agree with this. This might not be one you guys thought about, but one of the hardest games ever of all time was Barney's Hide and Seek game. That game, it was on the Genesis, and man, Barney's Hide and Seek, it was, back in the day, if you could beat that, you were so esports. That was one of the first instances of esports.
I had more problems with it because it gave me a raging erection while playing.
Jesus Christ! What is wrong with you? Don't let Daniel hear this podcast.
Jesus.
Hey, Geek, so you remember that conversation we were having before?
Yeah, the box of Kleenex is
recording?
replacing Rod.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just announce it now. So next week we're having a new host. It'll be Geeksy, myself, and this box of Kleenex replacing Rod.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't talk as much about erections, so fucking hell.
If I'm not crossing lines, I don't know why I'm here.
Speaking of crossing lines, the next news segment we got here, guys, is there's a third-party company that just came out with something for the new Nintendo product cardboard thing called Labo. If you guys don't know, it's like these new things that kids and adults put together, and it's like racing wheels, or like you're a robot, but it's all made of cardboard, a piano. Someone came out for cardboard spray for these Labos. I think this is hilarious.
I think it's awesome. It's really cool. I saw the coolest Labo thing I saw was, I forgot who it was. There was a pop singer, but they did a music video where they did all the instruments were Labo instruments, and they did like a live show of it, and it was really cool.
The thing Nintendo does, and it has had a lot to do with how they're doing their business model, has been like, oh, you can make all these products where you make a cheap piece of plastic, attach onto something, and then charge $18 for it. I mean, it started with the Wii, where you had like, oh, I'm going to put my Wiimote inside of a plastic tennis racket so I can play Wii tennis better, or some shit like this. This is just like in that perfect thing where it's like right along those lines. So it says it's like basically translates to $15 for this spray that's supposed to keep oil off of your
but it's
cardboard.
not an official licensed product. It's not Nintendo. No.
No.
You know, so but Nintendo would be known to do this stuff. I think the Labo stuff's really cool though. I think
It's real sick.
It's way more neat than the tennis rackets were. You know what I mean? Like the tennis rackets didn't do anything. At least these Labos, you could play music and have like a mini piano for you and your kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
stuff like that.
The point wasn't that the Labo was a bad idea. The point is that the Labo flying fuck it's called Lobard. It's the concept where Nintendo does these things where you go, I can make these useless like accessories, or these like not always useless, but these accessories that can charge an arm and a leg to play your games differently, or added things onto your games because of how they're developed. And that's all my point was, is that Nintendo makes these things where these third parties can really cash in on them.
We should put this video in the show notes or something, but it was Ariana Grande and Jimmy Fallon with the Roots. So they did a full performance, and all of the instruments were Labo instruments they made, and it's real cool.
Nintendo paid a pretty penny for that.
Oh, I'm sure they paid at least $25 US.
Ooh,
They paid
that's a lot.
$19.62.
Sorry if you guys can hear an airplane going over my house. Apparently, I live in an airport.
It's because everyone is trying to get out of Colorado Springs as quickly as possible.
It was the other night. I don't know if either of you guys were there in my stream.
I was.
Yeah, like there's an airplane that flew probably way too low. It's like, that's how airplanes sound. And I was like, sorry guys, I live on a runway, and like 20 people thought I was super serious. Everyone's like, whoa, what's it like living on an airport runway? I'm like, cheap rent, dog. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You're always getting frisked when you go outside. Someone's always there.
Well,
like...
that's the benefit. That's one of the benefits.
So we go from crappy Nintendo toys, I guess, to amazing toys.
Yeah. So there are a line of Overwatch Nerf guns with a partnership between Nerf and Blizzard that are coming out. I think they said early 2019. So we saw the Reaper shotgun that they had, and it's so damn cool. But they just unveiled, what was it? Couple days ago, they have a Diva blaster, and it's super damn cool. I will be buying these, and I do not even play Overwatch, and I don't shoot Nerf unless it's at Rod, so I'm excited.
So I have to tell you, if you buy the Reaper gun, it is illegal to only buy one of them. You have to buy two at all times, or you're a noob. So
they haven't announced pricing or anything. What do you guys think these are going to cost?
They have to be expensive. They have to be ridiculous expensive.
So I would assume that these things cost at least $50 a piece, but
it's probably like 120.
Like, well, okay, well, I think about it. Like, you go to a regular Nerf gun, like this Diva gun that they have here. Like, I would assume it's like $20-$30. Like, if you go into Target and buy one for like that isn't Overwatch. So you add that on top of it, and plus the special specialization, I think it has to be at least $50-$60, right? So
probably.
What other guns do you think they can do? So they have Diva, they've got Reaper. Do you think they'd get Hogger?
Oh, if they got Hogger, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
So the problem with Hogger is that, like, aka Roadhog, is there's another.
Yeah,
I know I did. I was repeating this.
Geek saying I can high five now.
Oh. Hogger is his gun. I don't know if it would work. I think you could do a Soldier 76 gun. That would be pretty cool.
That's actually a really easy layup for them, because all their guns are kind of like that style, right? That's
exactly.
An easy layup.
That and they have sniper rifles, so you could do like a Widowmaker. Yeah, so
I want to see them to do Torbjorn's hammer.
So
it's
just
like the wrench. Like, wouldn't it be really cool if they did the revolver? Like, imagine having to put in Nerf darts into like a revolver, like one at a time, like a real revolver.
They have those already.
Do they really?
They have Nerf revolvers already. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
what about Tracer's gun's pretty easy too.
Yeah, Tracers. I mean, if this, especially with the Diva one, you do it, and it would be the same thing as Reaper, where people would buy two of them. Yeah. Because Tracer always has two guns, and so
this is awesome for cosplayers. This is awesome for cosplayers.
They're gonna do Genji's shurikens.
Saucy, I think you pointing out Torb's hammer and Genji's shurikens, I think you might be missing the point of Nerf guns, but I could be wrong here.
Oh, what if they did Genji's sword?
Just a Nerf sword?
Now you say Reinhardt's hammer now too, and
it would just be a pole noodle on a stick.
what about Doomfist fist? Are you gonna make
I would buy it. Yeah.
Are you gonna fist people?
Yeah, dude. And they'd have it just say like "get fisted." It'd be amazing. Oh, and then, dude, this is they could have Zenyatta's balls. This is great. Nerf, Nerf, if you're listening to our podcast because we're so big and famous.
I think what you did, Saucy, was point out every character that will never get a Nerf, and
why? I don't get your logic.
Yeah,
they could have the hamster's ball.
I think Saucy, our box of Kleenex would agree with us. So
yeah, let's see. Hey, dude, what do you think? Hey, Rod, how's it going? What do you think about these new? Yeah, Torb's hammer, great Nerf gun. Thanks, dude. You're hired. Did you guys play Nerf guns when you were at Child's or last week?
Yeah, I think I've played with them once. I had cat guns. That was what I had, is cat guns.
Oh yeah, we were big on like super soakers when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've had Nerf guns as an adult more than I have as a child. I actually bought my wife a Nerf gun for her birthday one year, and she loved it because she chased my dog around with it, and he thought it was the best game ever.
Yeah.
So I have bought more Nerf guns as an adult than I ever did as a child. So
It's funny. So we have when we were moving we had an apartment, and when we moved to our new house we bought, I mean, it's not new, we've been here a while. Gabe has this, like, it's a huge trash bag full of Nerf guns. And I was like, do we really need all these? And he's like, yes, I put my foot down. Like Geek say puts his foot down about mirrors. We have to move this big ass bag of Nerf guns. And like, he has never used them. We just have them, but I can't get rid of them. We have to keep this bag of Nerf guns, and they just sit in my storage downstairs.
Why don't
and
you
Gabe
put them?
will not let me.
Yeah, but why don't you put them, like, have a room and they're like laid out like an armory? That would be pretty cool. Like, you're a Punisher. You know how the Punisher has his armory, and you should do that with your Nerf guns in a room, like
in
the
our
kitchen,
VR room.
like the
Maybe
kitchen.
We'll do that. The kitchen?
Yeah, just
Okay,
nice kitchen armory. Nice kitchen armory.
Well, I'm gonna do that one day when Gabe's working and I have off. I'm just gonna like redecorate the whole kitchen. He's gonna come up with all the Nerf guns. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are all these?" I'm like, "These are all the Nerf guns you wouldn't let me get rid of. Live with your consequences." Now I put my foot down. We must keep these.
The kitchen armory is sacred. Sacred.
Yeah.
you guys, you're learning a key lesson of relationships, and that you have to make compromises. So when you do these things,
no, there's no compromises here.
Nothing.
Just
Also, there's this video, we'll put it in the show notes, of Ariana Grande, Jimmy, and the Roots. They do a music video where they only use Nerf guns as the instruments.
That doesn't sound like a very good music video. I was like, did Saucy just have a stroke? Like he just talked about this thing like 13 seconds ago, and I'm glad you went where you did, because I'm like, okay, Saucy's had a stroke. I'm gonna call 911 and make sure someone gets him help, because he doesn't remember what's happened the last 12 minutes.
Speaking of stroke, should we do the intro to the?
I have a question for you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually Blizzard is late to the party with all their games, right? So first-person shooters, they came out with Overwatch late. You know, what was the other one? The League of Legends.
Hearthstone
They
and
have
card games.
Hearthstone card games. League of Legends. They have Heroes of the Storm. Do you think Blizzard will ever do like a Fortnite game?
Nope.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if that trend is gonna live long enough for it.
I think what's gonna happen is this year is going. It might not be this year. Something's gonna kill those games, because they have a Call of Duty one coming out. They have all this shit, and you go, yeah, this shit's gonna hit like real hard, and it's going to. People are gonna get tired of it. Like,
I think if Blizzard does it, it'll be like 20 years after those type of games aren't even around anymore. Because that's what they did with fucking Overwatch, like arena shooter. Like, it's like Team Fortress, but it was 10 years after people stopped playing Team Fortress. But now that genre is like huge. So they'll just be like, you know what? Now that this is dead, let's revive it.
How long will it take for them to do a new franchise, you think, then? Do you think they'll announce one in the next 5 years?
No.
I don't think so either, because like even Overwatch was they built Overwatch off of the like Project Titan, right? So they had what people thought was going to be the sequel to WoW.
Yeah. And
then they canceled it because WoW started going down, and they turned that team and made Overwatch.
Yeah.
But like that took forever for that to happen. So I don't think that they are in any hurry to do that and make anything, because everyone wants the shit they already have. People want another Diablo. People want more StarCrafts and shit like that. So I don't know.
They're smart. They remind me a lot of like how Apple does things, where they don't invent anything, or they don't make anything new, but they just take things that are already there and just make them good and make them better. And that's what Blizzard does, is they just like, hey, we're not going to reinvent the wheel, but we're going to make it real fucking shiny.
Yeah. They do it. They execute perfectly, right? Everything they do is just like executed just to perfection. And they do things, man. No one else has been running a game like WoW to the point where people are still like playing all these years. I mean, they don't have 20 million people playing anymore, but shit, man, they announced something this week, and they had all this stuff preparing for their new expansion, and like morons are attacking WoW developers to this day because they don't like what they were doing with Sylvanas. Like they were sending this female developer terrible shit on the internet because they were upset about these characters that have been around for 20 years.
I know every time they release any kind of new expansion for WoW, it just explodes again.
Yeah. I've had people on my friends list playing WoW for like the last month who I've never seen play WoW before because they want to play for the expansion. So
that's so awesome though, right? Is that it gets people love the game so much that they'll stop playing it because it's just they're done with it, but once the expansion comes, they're right back into it, and that's awesome, and that's what they need, right? And that's why they do these expansions. So it's good that they're doing this, and they even updated the graphics. They've made the world different. I think it's really smart the way they've come. Like they were smart not to make another WoW, like a WoW 2. They're very smart. Smooth. They were just like, hey, we're gonna invest more money into WoW, make it a WoW 2 technically, and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Which is dope. Hey guys, speaking of Ariana Grande, do you guys want to get into some of the questions this week?
Yep, I do indeed.
I'm not sure how these two things correlate.
Don't have to.
Who would be sure?
You don't have to.
You know who would be sure about how they correlate?
The box of tissues.
So guys, we got a few questions in this week. They are all anonymous because people are scared of the internet. We need you guys to keep sending us questions. So send us the things. It makes us happy and smile. And maybe if we get enough questions from you guys this week, we'll let Rod stay on the show. Maybe. I'm gonna read the third one, so you guys read the first two. I want the third one.
Okay, I will. No, you can read the first one, Geeks.
Okay, so we're gonna start with an anonymous. What do you think the hardest part of streaming is, and why do you think people quit?
Man, I'll go into this because I am the least streamy of the three of us. I mean, Geeks is a full-time streamer. Saucy streams 5 days a week. Streaming is hard for multiple things. Consistency is a big part of it. It's having a schedule for someone that has a full-time job, and if that is really, really difficult. And man, streaming can kill your ego if you have any kind of ego really, really quickly. So that's all like really big reasons, I think. When a box of tissues gets more viewers than you do, you get kind of sad as a human being. But I think that's a lot of it. It is consistency. I mean, I've done podcasts for over a year now, and consistency is key with that, but you're doing something consistent there at one time a week, not every day of the week or 5 days a week like you two. Consistency is hard, and just when you come out there and you stream for like 3 hours and no one comes in and watches you, it can be majorly depressing. Like I said, it's an ego killer.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the hardest things about like when you're starting streaming is just kind of building a viewer base, figuring out who you are, figuring out what your niche is, what you do, and staying with it, because it's a very thankless medium where there's a lot of people doing it. There's a ton of people out there. Most of them are garbage, but there's a lot of people out there doing it. So just staying motivated to do it. And also you go through a lot of periods of time where you don't see any so my friends here on this podcast know I love spreadsheets. So I'm like a data man. I put spreadsheets together for everything. So like I track my stream growth and everything. And that when you see a few, like there was a couple months where my viewership stayed pretty much level, where it was about the same. And it's hard to keep yourself motivated when you're like, if you're like trying to do this as a business full time and you see there's no growth, like it's tough. But then you get spurts where like this last week for me, I jumped up like 400% in my viewership through the whole week. And it's just like, it's tough to keep motivated. But the hardest thing for me is it takes so much of your time. So I'm married. I have a son who's a parrot, and I love spending time with them. But like, there's a lot of times it's like, hey, I could be spending time, with you guys, or I have to actually go stream tonight. And like, it takes so much of your personal time. For me, that's the hardest thing, because I value my time, when I'm not at work, being able to see Gabe and be able to hang out with Jace and my friends and do stuff. So it's hard. There's been so many times where like not long ago, my buddy, he got a new promotion. He was having a big barbecue, and I streamed beforehand, and I was gonna go there, but then Regis Kilbin raided me, and I had like 2,000 people in my stream. So I'm like, I'm gonna miss this barbecue. So like, there's a lot of times like that. So that's what's the hardest thing for me.
You guys should see Saucy's spreadsheets about his poops. Like
Dude, so many poop spreadsheets. I tracked. This is actually a real thing, not my own poops, but parrots, anyone who owns a bird, they show signs of sickness through their poops. So when I thought my bird was sick, I had a poop tracker for him to kind of make sure his poops were doing okay. Real story. That's a thing.
Poop Tracker 2000. It's funny.
Yep.
You were talking about spreadsheets. My girlfriend just started getting me an Excel spreadsheet so I can start, like, I'm just tracking my hours and what I'm doing. But, you know, to answer this question, it's really tough. I think the biggest part of the misconception of streaming is lately what a lot of, you know, like the New Yorker just posted something. I see a lot of articles about how to make millions playing video games, you know, and they break it down like you just start streaming and you're gonna start making donations and everything like that. What I think the main misconception with people in streaming is they think it's just like when you want to go play a video game, right? So say I was in the mood to play a video game right after this. All I do is boot up the video game and I'm ready to go. With streaming, you have to figure out if your OBS is still right, your lighting's good, everything like that.
Just like today.
Yeah, exactly, right? You hit hiccups, and it's not like you can just play a video game. You know, you're not playing it like you would offline. You know, you're trying to play the game, try to converse, and a lot of times it's really mentally draining. And I also think consistency, like you said, is the major thing, right? Consistency is so hard to be like, okay, I just worked a full day, I just want to chill out and play video games, and then it's not chilling out and playing video games.
No, at all.
You know, it's working again, right? It's like almost another job, and then you're doing so much work. I always like to put in for every 3 hours you stream, you're probably putting in an hour offline doing, you know, talking to people, networking, you're trying to change stuff, you're, you know, looking at your settings and thinking how you can do things better. And you're so right, Saucy Mailman, where, you know, you're looking and you're like, you're flatlining. I consider streaming a roller coaster. Like someday, like the past couple of months, man, you're just going on this upper track. That's what I was doing. I was going on this upper track, and then this month I just skyrocketed down until I recently, you know, got part of F2K. That brought me back up. Now I'm partner and I'm back on the upswing. But if you don't think in 2 months, in a month, in 2 weeks, in 3 months, somewhere there, I'm going to have another going down, and it messes with your head.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you guys how wonky I get with streaming, like how like depressed I get with it. Like there was a tweet once that said, like, it was from a very famous Twitch streamer, and they said,
you can say my name. You can say my name.
Saucy Mailman, sorry. It was from Saucy Mailman, and he said, you know, a streamer starter kit. It was like OBS, your favorite video game, and severe depression, because that, you know, like you're like, it's a thing of, you want people to like you. It's all I want you to like me. Please like me. Please hit that follow button so that you show that you like my stream and what I'm doing. And especially for something you put in 5 to 10 to 20 hours off stream, let alone streaming, you know? So
it's the same thing with podcasts, man. I will look at the statistics in like Podbean for my podcast, and when the numbers like dip, I go, what did I do wrong? Blah blah blah. Who did I offend saying something horrible? Why? I mean, everyone, just because I get called an episode of Tier 5 Attack of the Mechanical Dicks, like, are less people going to listen to my podcast now?
I had nothing to do with that.
Nothing at all, Saucy. You weren't the part of that episode title. No, so it's, we talk about it on here. It's like, content creators, man, you're doing this and you're not doing it to get like attention. I don't know, but you like people telling you they like what you're doing. You like when people download stuff. You like when they give you reviews and all that stuff. And when things change and go up or down, you go, what? Why is this changing? What is happening now? What is all that stuff, right? So
Yeah. I want to echo my closing statement of this trial. Back kind of what Geek said. I think the biggest things is why you have to decide why you're doing it. Because if your goal is to make a bunch of money and be, the next ninja or whatever, and just be this huge thing making millions of dollars, you're not gonna do it and you're just gonna fail. Like the reason I stream is because I love it and I love hanging out with people and I love entertaining people and I love giving people a community where they can come, chill, be safe, and have a good time. Like that's why I do it, because I love the community and the people and just hanging out. So you just have to like it's the reasons you're doing it. Like if you just think I'm here to make $1 million because I read this New York Times article, well, you're gonna have a shit time.
Well, that's something I always tell people right there is I'm like, okay, so there's two categories of Twitch, I think, or sorry, streaming, because you can do it now on Mixer, you can do it on YouTube, you can do it on this. There's two categories. Are you doing it because you're super passionate and you want this to be your full-time job? Okay, if that's a yes, then you've got to, like, you're gonna have sleepless nights, you're gonna get 5 hours sleep, you're gonna work full time, and then you're gonna go into streaming and you're gonna have to push yourself, and it's gonna be a grind, and it's gonna be really hard. Or are you doing this just because you think you want to have fun and you want to see where this goes? Okay, if you're in this column, then just have fun. Like, who cares if you get 1 follow, 2 follows a week or something? Like, just have fun with it, and that's what it is. But like, you have to figure out why you're doing this, right? And I started with this. I started with doing, for fun, and I just wanted to try it, and then it turned into this. You know what I mean? Like, I found out I had a passion for it. I had a knack for it. People really liked the content. Okay, then I started taking it serious. But I think you're 100% right, Saucy. If you start streaming because you see an article from New York Times saying people are making millions, it's like when you're not getting donations for the first 6 months ever, and you're like, what? Why aren't people just giving me money?
Yeah.
I don't like. Why aren't they just giving me money yet?
I get at least one person a week send me a message like on Twitter or Twitch, something like, "Hey, I just started streaming. Like, how do I start getting donations?" I'm like, "Oh boy, give it some time, buddy."
Yeah.
how do I get people to give me money?
Why
Well,
to not get money for if you play Fortnite? Me do.
It's always good
Yeah.
to see, like, it's always good to see people's profiles, and it's like donation link, Twitter. That's it.
And like past broadcast 1. All right.
But-
Well, we're running low on time, so
Okay.
I think the second question we'll do next week. But this
Okay.
one's very, very important. It's near and dear to my heart. So we got a question. They wish to remain anonymous, but they need to know the answer. They ask us, do kids actually curse and say things like "fuck your mom" when playing multiplayer games, or is that like a myth?
Oh, this is 1000% accurate. And dude, I was saying before we started this, I played a lot of the Call of Duty games on Xbox 360. Man, I have heard some of the most vile shit of all time coming from kids who obviously haven't hit puberty yet. Like, I'm gonna fuck your mom, bitch. Shit
Yeah.
like that is like, it happens, and it happens a lot.
Dude, there's been times where, like, when I first started streaming, when I was playing a lot of like Destiny or like it was the Division, and like when people come on and say things that are in global chat, I'm like, am I allowed to have this on Twitch? Like, am I gonna get banned for what they're saying?
Yeah.
I've heard some foul shit, not even from Rod's mouth, like worse than that.
I mean, I say crazy shit, but it's not usually like racist
That's
or
a lie.
sexist.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
That hurts. I'm nice.
I'm just kidding.
My favorite was in the Halo series, because what would happen is everyone would get match made, and then you have the pre-game lobby where everyone can talk to everyone. So
Yeah.
it was like all it was trash talking, right? And then
Yep.
after the game, everyone would go back to the pre-game lobby, and then it would be like, "I told you, you suck. You guys suck. Look at my kills. Look at them." And
Yeah.
it was the best and the worst and the
I was
worst.
gonna say
Yep.
the worst.
Yeah, and the worst, because you get those kids that are just. I still have never jumped into League of Legends though, and I heard that's the most toxic community there is.
So I have a buddy who he tweeted out the other day. He goes, "Oh, I hadn't played Dota in a couple years. So I went back in, and he's like, I played and it's just like toxic message after toxic message. And he's like, I remember why I stopped playing this shit.
Yeah, that was like the last time I played Dota because I was just like, oh man, I haven't played this in a while. Let me try it. One match, I like go and do something. What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't you know how to do this? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, this is my first game that I played. The stupid idiot. I'm like, well, that was a great experience.
I mean, the only one of those games I've played even a little bit is Heroes of the Storm, and that even there in the Blizzard community, you hear that shit. Not to that extent, but you hear it, and it's intimidating with those games because it's like you already have to go up online and look up a skill tree to even be proficient playing the games, like to make a character that works correctly, and then you have people calling you a fucking moron at the same time, and you're like, well, I'm gonna go play Hearthstone and be on my team, play by myself because I don't have to rely on people.
I can just squelch everyone.
Yep. Yeah, that's the first thing I do every single game. I'm sure you guys have seen.
Do you do that every time?
Every game. Yep.
I do too, because when I don't, because I forget, I probably forget like 10-15% of the time, and then they like emote me like when they're about to kill me, and I have a fucking temper tantrum. I'm like,
I barely ever squelch people. I don't know why. I think it's because I get so much joy when people are emote harassing me and then I kill them. The best.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. It's just a thing. Like, I muscle memory just squelch people. I think it was like when I was playing competitively a lot, like practicing for DreamHack and all that stuff. Like, I just needed to focus, so I just squelched people, and now it's just like muscle memory. It's the thing I do.
Oh, that's smart. That's really smart though when you're trying to compete, and yeah, that's really smart actually.
Going back to why do you think people streaming is hard? I play like shit when I'm streaming. Like, if I'm not streaming, I'm like grandmaster, just making all the right plays. I get on stream, I just like forget to attack. I don't play cards right. I just like, oh no,
it's called lethal every time. It's multitasking, dude. It's the whole like you're like trying to talk to people and play and make sure your music's going, and you're doing 8 things at a time. And sometimes it's like I make obvious bad misplays, and then your stream is like, hey, you fucked up, and you're like, dough.
We all can't be Nate Wolf, who's just perfect at everything.
No.
But yeah, kids say fuck your mom. Well, guys.
okay. Before we go, we have to decide. Geek say this is up to you this week. Why are we broke this week, Geeks?
Oh, this week, why we're broke? I'm already on it, guys. So if you guys are like me and you love Bitcoins and you want to become an internet millionaire like I do, there's this new thing out called the shipping container Bitcoin miner. Now, you're saying to yourself, a shipping container, that must be expensive. It's really not. It's $1.4 million. And it comes with 176 air-cooled, I think, mining servers. And the best part of this, guys, is you have to buy them in groups of 2 to 5. Okay, you can't just buy one. Just one. You have to buy them in groups of 2 to 5. It's only 1.4 million, so you're looking at like $3 million. But you're going to be a trillionaire with all the Bitcoins you get from it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we all know how much Bitcoin's worth. You could make easily 1.4 million a day from each of these.
Yeah, most likely.
You guys, haven't you ever heard the old saying, you got to spend money to make money?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
How many of those did you order already, Geeks?
Well, I have, so here's the thing, right? I ordered 2, and then they're like, hey, we need some bank statements. And I was like, bank statements? Here's my Visa card. They said your limit's exceeded by a lot. And I said, try it again. Run it again. I kept telling them, run it again. Just run it again.
You have to realize in Canadian dollars, this 87 million Canadian dollars for this. So you have
a couple of loonies, a couple of toonies. Shut up, dog.
20 loonies.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jeff.
Jeff's being a dick again.
God, you got a fucking zoo going on over there, homie.
I mean, duh. That's how my wife has come home and the dog's going to join.
You know who doesn't ever have background noise like that? The box of Kleenex.
I hate you both
and
so
Saucy's
bad.
showing it perfectly right there.
I'm gonna.
For our video listeners, you guys can see our new co-host. This is a sneak preview for next week. And the best thing is he's not even like, it's a blue Kleenex box, so you can see through it on my green screen. It's even better.
Yeah.
I like seeing through Saucy's head. It's my real.
See, and the box Kleenex has way better jokes than that kind of joke. So there you go.
You can follow our box of Kleenex at Geek8 Kleenex on Twitter.
But I want you guys to do that. I hope you guys go and follow us everywhere. Saucy, can you tell them where to follow us?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate every one of you. Well, at least 99. I'm sure there's one I don't appreciate, but most of you we appreciate. You can follow us here, our conglomerate of us, at Geek Aid Podcast on Twitter. On YouTube, we have some URL, but we don't have enough followers on there yet since we're new. So we need our 100 followers on YouTube to get a real boy URL. So please follow us. Is it called following on YouTube? No, it's subscribing on there, right?
Subscribing, yep.
Give us those subscribos on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And if you're, for our audio listeners, dude, give us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. Even if it's a lie, just give us that 5 stars so we can get up there, man. We appreciate it. It helps so much.
It's 8 stars Canadian.
Oh, that was good. Maybe Ron can say I like that.
Okay, he saved himself for another week right there with that joke.
Oh, that was real good. What about you guys? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Rod_Johnston, and I am on Twitch at twitch.tv/Rod_Johnston.
You can find me, guys, at twitch.tv/Geeksay. You can find me on YouTube under Geeksay also. And I am on Twitter, but it's Geeksay with an extra H.
And I am just Saucy Mailman. You can find me at Saucy Mailman on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Pornhub. I don't know, all those places.
Hey, guys, if you want to see some hot stuff, follow him on Pornhub. It is... All I have to say is dragons.
Guys, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching us. I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Peace.